Hello all, welcome back to Positive Gaming. Today we're going to be talking about Metal Gear Solid Delta. If you've seen some of my previous videos, you probably know that I am a massive Metal Gear Solid fan. I consider myself to be the biggest fan in the world, though some people might fight me on that. And my favorite game in the series, like a lot of people, has always been Metal Gear Solid 3. Although sometimes MGS1 is kind of my favorite, but most of the time, I think that MGS3 is the best one. And throughout most of my life, it has been my favorite, not only my favorite video game of all time, but my favorite piece of art slash entertainment of all time. And so recently we got Metal Gear Solid Delta, which is a full remake of Metal Gear Solid 3. And it's taken me a while to do this video because I think it's partially because I honestly don't have that much to say about it because, you know, Delta is definitely a safe remake. That's the way that a lot of people have been describing it. You know, it doesn't do a whole lot new. All it really does is it completely overhauls the graphics with modern Unreal Engine 5 graphics, though that can lead to some performance issues, but the performance has definitely gotten better since patches have come out. And then it also brings back some old content that was in the subsistence version of the game on PS2, and it's great to have those things back. So we've got Snake versus Monkey mode is back, and also the what's it called? The Guy Savage mini game is also back. And what's funny is that I actually never got to play those mini games before Delta because the only versions of MGS3 that I had played were the HD edition and the 3DS version. So I never got to experience those until now. And yeah, I think they're both fun, especially Snake versus Monkey. You know, there's not much to Guy Savage, but it's still pretty cool that it's back. You know, an original piece is back. And it also is kind of a historical piece because, you know, I've always assumed that Kojima was going to make Guy Savage into an actual game, but it never came together. If I'm wrong about that, please comment in the comment section and let me know if I'm wrong. Maybe it was never intended to be a full game. Maybe it's just you know, just something they put in for fun. But I can't imagine that it wasn't supposed to be a full game at some point. But anyway, yeah, like I said, the the main improvement with this is definitely the controls, and I love the controls in this game. They're so good. You know, I remember the first time I played MGS3 when I was like 13 or 14. I did not like the controls at all. You know, and since then I've played the game so many more times. I've beaten it so many times that now I'm completely used to the controls and I kind of like them. But I can totally understand other people trying to play some of the older MGS games and not really liking the controls. And so this game has phenomenal controls. I don't think it's quite as good as MGS5. I think MGS5 has like the best controls ever, but it's pretty close. MGS3, I think the one complaint is that the movement can feel a little slow, like Snake's running animation looks a little too slow, I think. I kind of wish they would speed that up a little bit, although that's also partially what the new gold camo is for. That can increase your movement, but it can also completely mess up your camo index. So I wouldn't recommend using that unless you have the easy gun, which boosts your camo up to 80% no matter what costume you're wearing. And yeah, there's also a bunch of other fun new camos that I like. Like I really like the Peace Walker sneaking suit. That's a really cool addition, and I absolutely love the crocodile suit. I think it's the funniest thing I've ever seen, and I just love playing around with it. I've beaten this remake like 5 or 6 times at this point. MGS3 is a very short game, especially if you skip all the cutscenes. I did watch all the cutscenes the first time I played through it because I really wanted to see how they looked in the new graphics, and they look fantastic. Everything in this game looks fantastic. It's one of the best looking games I've ever played, and yeah, over the last couple of months, I've just been having a blast playing this game. To me, MGS3 has always been like the most replayable game ever. Partially because it's so short, it's not a big time commitment to replay MGS3, but also there's just so many different mechanics, and there's so many different ways that you can complete objectives and get into certain areas, and all that is just so fun to mess around with. And of course, the story is exactly the same as it was in the original game. It's a timeless masterpiece of a story, so beautifully written, such an incredible ending, such incredible twists. Yeah, the ending to the game still, every time I watch it, it makes me cry a little bit. It's such a powerful moment for me, and it was pretty much the moment that really solidified that Metal Gear was my favorite franchise of all time, and I'm just so glad that more people will get to experience this game in a more modern way. Like I said, some people might try to go back to the old MGS3 and they might have a hard time with the controls. They might not like the graphics. And I think that's something that a lot of modern gamers just don't understand. I know that there is kind of this growing disdain for video game remakes. A lot of people are just like, oh, why don't you just play the original? And, one, the original can be hard to track down and play, especially if you don't have the old console that's on. But two, I think these just bring these experiences, that we all love, to modern gamers in a better way than if they were to just play the original. I think a lot of people don't understand that, some people just have a hard time playing older games, and I think that's totally understandable. I know that I have a really hard time playing old games that I didn't grow up playing. I can play old games that I did grow up playing, but when it comes to other games that, like I said, I didn't grow up with, I think it's a lot easier for me to play a remake. Like, I absolutely love all the Resident Evil remakes, whereas I don't really like the old Resident Evil games that much. For me, the newer ones just made it click with me a lot better, and I think that MGS Delta can do the same for a lot of people, and I think that's wonderful. Like I've said before, this is my favorite piece of art of all time, and if more people get to experience it in a way that works for them, I don't see what the problem is with that. I think that's, a form of game preservation in a way. And also, it's great that the original MGS3 is still available on modern platforms. I definitely think that's something that other companies should do. Even if you are coming out with a remake, I do still think that you should have the original game available in some way. But, there's also other times, like, for example, with Shadow of the Colossus, I think it's perfectly fine that the original game isn't available because, the remake is so close to the original and it's available on modern PlayStations. And, I don't think you're really missing out on anything if you choose to play that version over the original. And I feel the same way about this. So all in all, I love MGS Delta. It's a freaking incredible remake. The only real problems I had were, some of the performance issues. It still can drop below 60 FPS sometimes, but it is a lot better. I played the game on PS5. I heard it was a lot worse on PC, because PC has a hard time with Unreal Engine 5, or I guess more, Unreal Engine 5 has a problem with PC. I think that's a more accurate way to put it. So yeah, that's all I have to say for now. If I have more to say on the game in the future, I'll make more videos, and I'm very excited for my next video because I'm going to be talking about Death Stranding 2. So look forward to that. This has been Positive Gaming, out. Play MGS Delta for sure.